Good morning, distinguished teachers, and welcome to the workshop of training for participants in the Distinguished Teacher Award. My name is Fawzia Al-Awali. I work for Hamdan Award as an arbitrator, you can say, for a long time. And I'm delighted to be here and be honored to present this workshop today for you. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome our esteemed teachers for making time to attend this workshop, and we really appreciate your dedication and your achievements in education. Today's workshop is going to be an important workshop, and I'm, delighted to have you here and to get benefit out of this workshop as much as we can. And I'm looking forward to hear that you have applied for the award and won the prize of Hamdan Award, inshallah. Okay. So before we go through the agenda of today's workshop, remind you of some the workshop etiquettes. If you have any queries, questions, you'd like to know about how to apply for the award, my colleague Ms. Khawlan Marni, she's here, and she can reply to your questions in the chat box. You may post them there. If you'd like to, ask any question, you'd like to participate, please do. Now, being, distinguished, I'm sure all of you know a lot of stories about distinguished people in life. Like Bill Gates, like Steve Jobs, sorry. They worked a lot. They started from the scratch until they reached the target or the peak of the mountain that they were looking for. As Estee Lauder, she says a very important quote that I always, recall myself, that I didn't dream, or I never dreamed of success. I worked for it. So your target is excellence. So we have to work for it. Okay. I think it's time to start the workshop. I hope it's going to be beneficial for all of you, and will, be a clear insight to help you in preparing your excellence document. So training workshop for participants in the Hamdan Distinguished Teacher Award. We'll start with the agenda of today, or the training scheme. We're going to have a short, introduction opening activity. Then we're going to talk about the definition of award. After that, participation conditions, a short activity also, preparing the excellence document. I think this is very important part also. Then an activity. After this part is done, we're going to have a short break about 20 minutes. Then we will come back and continue talking about the rest of today's workshop, which will be rewards and incentives, general guidelines, the applicant's journey, and we'll have another activity. After that, we're going to talk about the accesses of assessment of the Distinguished Teacher Award. We'll talk about different accesses. The first access will be will have some activities in between. Then the second axis will try to see if we can have a short break, or we will continue if the time allots. Then we talk about third axis, an activity after that, and the fourth axis, and then the discussion and inquiries that you have about the award. And after that, it's very important, the assessment for registration and the attendance. The attendance is important for you, and the assessment for registering is important for us, that we can see how we can improve our services for you. Now, here, let's start with an introduction about the award. As you know, that education is always developing, improving, changing according to the the queries of the life. We can see how it's in a rapid change with technology, with artificial intelligence, etc. That's why Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum Foundation is keen on, to solve these, changes in the field of education, to reshape, the award in a new line that is, helps the development in the field of education. Now, before we start, as you know, according to the changes, the criteria of the award have been changed also. So let's see, in this activity, what do you know about, the award, Hamdan bin Rashid Award for the Distinguished Teachers Performance? What do you know about it? And then we will, discuss what do you want to know, and of course, what did I learn? We'll keep it at the end of the workshop. We will say what really this workshop added to you. So can you please, add or talk about what do you know about Hamdan Award? You can brainstorm, you can think about it, jot it on a piece of paper, please. You can have, as the table is shown on the screen in front of you. It will help a lot in preparing your documents later on. So what do I know about Hamdan Award? And then any ambiguity, any queries, what do you want to know? And after that, after the workshop, we talk about the access of the assessment, about the excellence document, about what conditions you have to follow to apply for the award. So then you can, see what you have learned. I'll give you a couple of minutes until you jot down these information for yourself, and then you can compare them by yourself. So let's say 2 minutes. Yeah. 1 minute is left. Okay, I believe the time is over. We can, proceed then. We will add the ideas that you, after, you listen to the presentation, you may add them later on. So let's start talking about the definition of the award. Now, the award is, presented to a teacher who is, performing, or his performance is above or over the basic level of specialization and professional competencies. And a teacher that is, achieves a high level of unique and impressive proficiencies and competencies. So this is the brief, let's say, definition of the award. And as you can see, there are some conditions for, for application for this award. It's very important. Before we apply for any award, we have to see where we are standing. What do I need to add to be to the level of the application? Because it's very important, to not get into, let's say, a battle without being ready with your arms and weapons. I'm sure it's going to be a not successful battle. Therefore, we have to know what terms, what conditions for the award are required before we get into the competition. So as you can see, there are some conditions of application for the award. The first one, is very important that the teacher must be, teaching at any governmental or private school. A part-time teacher cannot apply for the award. It should be a full-time teacher, and either from governmental schools or private schools. Condition number two, that the applicant for the award must achieve the excellence level. The performance evaluation, report should be for the last 3 years, are very important. Must be, very good or meets the expectations for the last 2 years. But it's very important to be in the level of as an excellent teacher. As we know, always the excellent teachers are distinguished and ready for fulfilling the conditions of the award. Also, it's very important to, when you present your document, the excellence document for the award, it should be the documentation from one school. You cannot add what you did in X school, then what you did in Y school. Should be continuously in one school. It should be in a consistent way. So you cannot provide documents that mentioning different students in, as I mentioned, in a school, then different students in another school. Number 4, the teachers who are working for private schools, they have to be full-time teachers, and they have to attach, let's say, a letter to whom it may concern from the school administration that you are a full-time teacher. Part-time teacher, of course, you cannot follow, or even the teacher himself or herself cannot follow his or her performance continuously if he is a part-time teacher. Okay. It's also very important that the teacher attaches a recent video of his performance in the classroom, a video of 45 minutes that's stating the time and the date of the class. Some teachers, I'm telling you from my experience going through the applicants' documents, that unfortunately they add or they attach or they submit short videos that as the arbitration members of the committee, we cannot tell how the teacher started the lesson, the introduction, the warming up, what was the lesson about, how did he or she write the lesson. So it's very important that you submit, a full 45, according to your classroom, not less than 45 minutes of your performance in the classroom. Also, it's very important that your experience as a teacher shouldn't be less than 3 years. So teachers who are, new teachers to the field, like just a year or 2, unfortunately, they cannot apply for the award. It must be not less than 3 years. 3 years and above. The applicants must attend the introductory. This is very important. Why? Because, as I mentioned, it will add a lot in preparation of your excellence document. It will help you how to prepare for the document, what attachments to add, what proofs, dates stamped by the school administration. If not, these important information, if they are not added to your excellence document, I'm afraid will affect the marking of your document. Also, it's very important that you as a teacher to add to your excellence document the let's say the recommendation letters from the school administration, the school principal, and a co-teacher, because it's very important for the arbitration committee members to know what they think about you as a teacher, in terms of your participation, your contributions in the school community. There are two, let's say, additional conditions for the GCC teachers, Gulf Cooperation Council countries, that they have to bear in mind that they must be citizens of these countries. We mean like Saudi Arabia Kingdom, from Qatar, from Bahrain, Kuwait, and Sultanate Oman. They have to be citizens of these countries. And it's very important that they have to be awarded for an excellent award in their countries, that they are really distinguished teachers in their countries, that they can, you know, apply for a Hamdan award. So they might be certified by their Ministry of Education in their countries, or they are eligible, saying that they are eligible to, you know, apply for the award. So it's like, again, like a recommendation letter. Now, let's talk about the excellence document, the documentation of your work. What do you mean by excellence document? Now, of course, in the past, we used to receive paperwork of the teachers, you know, a file of their work, pictures, a CD of, you know, recorded classroom performance, etc. But now, as you can see, life is changing, and everything is becoming digital. So also, you want to apply for the award, your document is digital, where you can, you know, of course, explain the aspects of your performance. There are, of course, having 4 axes, 4 criteria that will, you know, you will follow in, of course, in a sequential way while you are preparing your excellence document. There are 4. So we will start from number 1, 2, 3, and 4. We cannot, of course, you know, you are teachers, mashallah, and you know how to be well organized in preparing any document. So the most important thing that it's a digital descriptive document, and it will, you know, help you to provide, you know, your achievements throughout the last 3 years in your career. And of course, it's very important when you prepare this document to, you know, have it in a way that is supporting your work, elaborating. It's very important that you choose the best of your work, that you really believe that is distinguished, to share it with the foundation, and be strong, convincing that your work is distinguished, is innovative, is different than other or than your colleagues' work, let's say. And of course, anything you're talking, we do trust you, but it's very important to have proofs and evidence when you talk about something, because it's very important to you know, see how you are a distinguished teacher. Now we're going to talk about, let's say, the specifications and controls while you are preparing the excellent document. They are very important points. I'm sure you will bear in mind that always it's very important as a writer to write, in general, I'm not talking about the award now. In general, when you write a letter, when you write something, or as a writer, author, or an author, it's very important to write in a way that the reader understands what you are talking about, to make it easy to convey your message to the reader. So when you come to, I'll get you back to the award now. When you come to write your excellence document, it's very important to write it in a clear and understanding language. Choose your words that make the reader, make it easy for the reader to understand what you have on mind and what you are saying and thinking. It's also very important the words in the document. It counts a lot. That your document shouldn't, the words in your document shouldn't exceed 4,400 words, because as you know, the system, of course, your document is going to be submitted electronically on the system, and we all know any system on computer cannot exceed the size that is allotted for the system. I'm sure you understand what I mean. So if your document exceeds the number of the words or the size of the proofs and attachments, unfortunately, the system is going to reject it. So bear in mind this part. Again, it's very important to prepare your document in a sequence and coherent way, starting from axis number 1 and ending with axis number 4. And of course, the attachments and proofs must be related to each criteria, to each axis. Also, it's very important that if proofs and attachments are needed, you have to add it to the system, because if what you're saying with no proofs and evidence, unfortunately, your mark will be deducted. It's also important that what you present, your material, it's very important to be interactive, to be flexible, to be easy to walk through. So these are very important, let's say, specifications and criteria for preparing your excellence document. Now we come to this activity. I want you to, I'll give you like, let's say, 5 minutes, and I want you to prepare, kind of introduction that contains, the presentation or the philosophy, your philosophy in education and your philosophy in being distinguished, and the real apply for the excellent or distinguished award of their features. So 5 minutes, it's 9:35 now. By 9:40, we'll continue with the presentation.
أستاذة فوزية شيء صار؟
إيه سمعت.
في بند شوي الكمبيوتر في شيء؟
لا أنا أموري طيبة. الحين هم الحضور ما يسمعوني تكلميني أستاذة خولة؟
ولا يسمعون؟ يلا ما عليك، توكل على الله.
خير إن شاء الله. أستاذة خولة.
هلا أستاذة فوزية.
الشاشة ما أدري ليش الشريحة
واضحة بس
لا
الشريحة
واضحة.
شكلها واقفة.
إيه.
هي انزل خلاص ويتح هنا.
ما أدري ليش ما أقدر أحركها على بس.
ليش هو يتحرك؟
تحرك الحين يتحرك. خاف من
وين؟
على الصفحة الأكتيفيتي بعد
منين الصف؟
بعد
هذه اكتيفيتي 2. هذه اكتيفيتي 2.
هي
خلاص.
ليش هي اللون غير عشان شو دودو. Okay, I guess we're back. So let's continue with of course, the philosophy of this activity is going to be with you. It will help a lot to brainstorm and know why you are, applying for this award. Now it's time to move to the. I don't know why the screen is not moving. Sorry about this. Sometimes we cannot trust technology, as they say. I need 1 minute, please.
في شيء أستاذة فايزة؟ ما يشتغل عندك؟
يعني ممكن it's okay though. Okay, apologies about that. So let's continue. Yes. Here we're going to talk about the rewards and intensive of the winner of the award. Of course, after applying for the award and the arbitration committee members, they go through the your document. Of course, at the end, the prize of the winner is going to be a cash reward of 60,000 Arab Emirates dirhams with an excellence cup attending the ceremony, celebrating the winning, celebrating, announcing being a distinguished teacher. And of course, Hamdan Award, they don't forget their distinguished teachers only by rewarding them, but after rewarding or after that, they invite the winners for the opportunity to attend a training program that is designated by the foundation. Distinguished teachers always deserve the best. Now we're going to talk about some, important guidelines for the, the application. When you come to apply after your excellence document is prepared, when you come to apply the stage of, submitting. First of all, it's very important that you submit the application electronically. Again, as I mentioned previously, the document is not a paperwork anymore. It's digital, electronically, and you're going to submit it via the electronic system, which, as you can see on the screen, is tahkim.ha.ae. So you can see the link. You can jot it down or take a screenshot. This is the the link that you're going to submit your excellence document. It's also very important that as an applicant, you have to make sure that you meet the requirements of the participation, as I mentioned previously also, for the award. It's very important that you don't, put your time and effort in preparation, and unfortunately, you are not well prepared for it, So I believe it's very important to be ready for it. And also, it's very important that you have to know when is the date that the system accepts your, that you can submit your excellence document, and when it's due. Because as we know, once the system is, the due date is over, unfortunately, you cannot submit your excellence document, especially you're working, you didn't save time and effort on preparing this document, and you're not aware about the due date. It's going to be waste of your time. But if you face difficulties in submitting because of the system, or there is something out of your hands, you're on time, but something happened wrong, you can communicate with the foundation management, and you know, I'm sure they will help you to you know, how you can submit your document. Also, it's very important that again, the word counts. You know, the number of the words count. It shouldn't exceed the allotted number of words. It's because of the system again. If it's above, the system is not going to accept your document. Therefore, please stick to the number of the words and to not face any difficulties. It's also very important that when you come to add attachments and proofs to each access, to you know, to be related to that access, kindly don't, you know, add any proofs and access that are not related, because what is about Hamdan Award is being a well-organized teacher. You know, a distinguished person is always well-organized, you know, to the point, as they say. So you sometimes, if you don't get, for example, what is the requirement of this access as an attachment, don't put whatever you have there. No, please be precise, accurate, to the point, and clear. Because once your document is clear to the arbitration committee, it will make you know, it will make it easier for them to find out that you are a teacher that knows where he is or she is aiming at. Okay. It's also very important that you have to fill in the forms of requirements. Of course, you'll find on the system a part of the, you know, the let's say the website that you have to fill in a form with required information about, of course, about you for the award, and it's an application. It's like, you know, for example, a declaration letter. I think yeah, there is, you know, some information that you have to add about yourself, etc. Once you will, you know, submit, you will find out more and more about it. But what I want to say, it's very important to, you know, fill in the forms and the requirements on the e-application. Now, that, you know, what I talked about were some guidelines about applications. Now, some guidelines about the proofs and attachments that you're going to add on your or to your excellence document. First of all, it's very important that all submitted works and documents and proofs that you submit after you submit to the foundation is going to be, you know, foundation's property. So, as they say, the copyrights is going to be for the foundation. And also, after, of course, after winning the award, you know, announcing the prizes and the winners of the award, it's, you know, very important to share the best practices of teachers that, you know, they applied for the award, to share these best practices with other teachers. And it's also very important that the criteria that is mentioned in the e-application should be, you know, it's like more for explanation. It's you know, the applicant may support the criteria of excellence with such proofs and you know, appropriate supporting provided by you, that these you know, proofs are with the set of conditions. So you have to stick to these conditions. Let me rephrase what I'm saying, that when you add your proofs and attachments to the e-application, please stick to the conditions. Again, maybe the size of the attachment, maybe this attachment or this proof is not related to this access, to this criteria, so it will affect a lot. So it's very important to stick to this guideline. Again, the more significant the attachments and the proofs, the more comply with the criteria. And when it complies with the criteria, it will, you know, give you more score. It will give more credit to your work, because you're presenting something is related to what is needed as a condition in adding the proofs and attachments. Bear in mind that, you know, it's required to you know, add photos to your document as a proof or as a, you know, evidence, as an evidence, but not always. Be careful, especially when it comes to you know, you are needed to provide a video recorded, you know, classroom to show how you start your class, how you conduct it. It shows your classroom management, how the environment of your classroom is. So sometimes, unfortunately, photos do not help as much as you know, for example, a video does. Also, it's very important to you know, submit proofs and evidences for the last 3 years, not more than that. Unfortunately, from, you know, previous files that we went through, some teachers, they provide certificates that were issued in 2015 or 2016. So I believe it's a long time, and unfortunately, it's out of date. So always for the last 3 years, we can say from last September 2021 to September 2022 to September 2023. And of course, after that, you can, of course, but not before that. So this is one of the most important conditions for, you know, when you come and submit the proofs and attachments. Also, you know, no electronic links. Why we're saying that? Because through our experience, unfortunately, many electronic links do not open, and it's you know, you know, it's going to make the, you know, your document weak. So be careful, no electronic links may be used for the criteria. Also, it's very important to know, again, we emphasize on the size of the attachments. Do not exceed the required size, because if the size is big, it's out of our hands, the system cannot accept it. Ensure that all documents and proofs are dated, stamped by the school administration. It's you know, again, the award shows us how it's important to be you know, well organized and updated. Now, of course, the more certificates and proofs you use, you know, let's say the level national, international, the higher the score would be. For example, if, let's say, certificates are needed for how many workshops you attended. I know it's very difficult to attach all the certificates, especially if you attended a lot, to submit, but you can add like a table of the workshops that you attended for the last 3 years and attach the certificates, not less, let's say, than 5 certificates showing your latest workshops that you attended. So don't say that I will mention a number of workshops that I attended, but as a proof, attachment, and evidence, you will add only 2 or 3. So it will not help. We, you know, some areas we need to see more proofs, evidences, and attachments. The more the attached proofs are, you know, these attachments and proofs are, the more they are innovative, different, distinguished, creative, the higher the score will be. Of course, we are looking for something different that the teacher is achieving and contributing in his school or her school community. Sometimes no more than 1 proof may be attached per page or attachment, you know, especially if sometimes we add proofs and attachments that are unclear, that, you know, we add a lot, you know, of attachments and proofs that we have, but unfortunately they are not related to what do you call it, the criteria that I'm talking about. So this is very important, you know, guideline to bear in mind. So, so in general, we can say that the applicant, the teacher, should comply with the size of the attachments and the words and the excellence document that is going to submit on the system. Number of the proofs required, up to 5, as I mentioned, like the certificates per dimension. So 5 proofs per dimension of the main axis. As we said, we have 4 axes. So 5 proofs per axis. And of course, they have to, each attachment contains only 2 proofs. And if the attachment is, again, unclear, of course, no score will be, you know, given to the applicant. No score will be granted. So this is very important to know as a general guidelines when you want to apply for the award. We come to the applicant's journey. What is needed from a teacher when wants to apply for the award? So it's like, you know, it's like traveling. When you want to travel, you prepare your luggage and you know what to add into this luggage to have a safe trip, I believe. So it's very important to attend the workshop that again is designated by Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum Foundation, because this workshop will add a lot when you come to prepare your documents. It will let you know what is needed, what it's not, how to prepare your document. So it's very important. Also, again, it's very important to know that the application is electronical. You submit your work on the system, as I mentioned again. Then after you submit your document on the system, sticking to the date and time, your file or your document goes to the arbitration committees. They will evaluate your file. The first stage is the theoretical stage of evaluation. They will see if the file is eligible to go to the second stage, which is the field stage. After the applicant file passes the theoretical stage, the field stage is when they will, the management, foundation management, they will communicate with the eligible file, with the teacher, saying that you're going to be interviewed by the arbitration committee members to talk about more and more if they have queries about your file. And of course, after the the stages are fulfilled theoretically and the field, and the teacher is deserves the award. Of course, the announcement, it will come the day of the announcement of the results, announcing the winners of the award. And of course, it's going to be announced through Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum Foundation channels. They have channels to communicate. Either they will announce on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. They have their own channels. They will let you know. Of course, via emails, they will let you know that you are the winner of this prize. Inshallah. Looking forward to. Now we come to an activity. I want to again think and about this activity. If the candidate, if the teacher is qualified to the interview stage, what should he or she do to to win? Of course, because to pursue, to be ready when the arbitration committee members are going to visit him or her. And of course, looking forward to become eligible to win the prize. I'll give you 1 minute to think about it. Then I'm going to answer this question. Just brainstorm together, because it's very important. It's a part of the as I mentioned, the field visit, the interview with the teacher. Teacher should convince the committee that he or she is a distinguished teacher. Okay, now it's very important that to be ready for this day. for the second stage, for the interview, for the field, it's kind of field visit, because not always what we write convey exactly what we mean. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. It's, on that day, the teacher is going to have a meeting with the arbitration members, talking about his or her achievements, contributions in the school, why he or she is a distinguished teacher. They will ask about his file or her file. If they have any kind of ambiguity, he has to be aware of every single, let's say, word that he or she submitted for the award. It's also very important to prepare. You submit your, let's say you submit your document, before the interview for it takes time until the arbitration committee, they go through your file. You start a new academic year, you start, your schools. You can prepare what you did is, in addition to what you submitted in your document. What is after you submitted, any creative work, any creative project, initiative, any innovative program, anything, researches, anything you did after submitting your document, you can prepare, be ready, and you can discuss and talk about that in a presentation. Prepare it as a presentation for the award visitors, and be ready for that. And I'm sure you have a lot, once you start schools, you have a lot to add. So this is very important also. Now we'll have about a break for 20 minutes. You can have a cup of coffee or tea, and we will be back to continue with the second part of the workshop. I hope the first part was beneficial. Please bear in mind every single guideline or condition that we talked about, because they will add a lot to your excellence document. Thank you. We will be back now. It's 10:10. We will be back 10:30, and we will continue today's workshop. Enjoy your break. See you later. Okay, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed your break and had your coffee or tea And let's get back to the workshop, please. Shall we? All right. Now we will continue the second part of the workshop that we're going to talk about the excellence criteria or axes of the Distinguished Teacher Award. As you can see, the first axis of assessment is self and leadership efficiency. The second one is cognitive and professional efficiency. The third axis is communicative competence, quality of life. And the fourth one is efficiency in national and communal commitment. All right, so let's start with the first axis, which is the self and leadership, competency. As you can see, it's out of 250 points, which means it's a very, very important criteria of assessment. Why? Because as we know, as a distinguished teacher, we must have a clear vision, mission, and values. It's also very important to have purposeful planning. It's very important to know what are the needs of my students in a creative, innovative, and distinguished way. Also, in the school community, how I am helpful with my co-workers, with my colleagues in general, not only teachers in the school community, and how I made influential and motivating contributions in the community of school. That's why this is a very important part that as a teacher, you have to shine in this part, talking about this axis. Of course, under this main axis, we have sub-axes or criterion. In this criterion, we have sub-criteria or sub-axes that we will start with the first one, which is, being a role model, setting a good example, first of all, to ourselves. It's always what I'm doing for myself, motivating myself, being positive, positive personality, positive teacher. Then how I am, positive with my students, and of course in the school community. And how you will show that? You will show it through the events, your participation in events and activities that you're going to, contribute, and how you're going to have a positive impact, especially on your students. So this is number one. The second part is planning. As I mentioned, planning is part of, not any kind of planning, but proposal planning that helps you to plan for your work in an innovative, comprehensive way. Of course, it's going to be what you're planning. Of course, we're not talking about only the daily planning or the lesson planning. Can be the annual plan, can be the lesson plan, can be a weekly plan. These are very important to reflect your work, excuse me, as a teacher in your school. Like, for example, also as a tip, I'm going to talk about it. It's very important when you, submit, let's say, a lesson plan, let it be related to the classroom video, recorded video that you're going to present. Because in this way, you're showing exactly what your planning is reflecting in your classroom. Some, they, submit something different. Lesson plan that is not related to the video. It's okay, but it will add credit to your work, that what you're planning, you are presenting to the committee. Also, it's very important that what you plan to be related to the vision and mission of the Ministry of Education. For example, the trend is we are, as the Ministry of Education, focusing on artificial intelligence, focusing on, future foreseeing. So it's very important what you submit are in correlation with the ministry's vision and mission. The third sub-axis is teams and committees. As we know, as teachers, especially as a distinguished teacher in the school, you are always, required by the school administration to be, let's say, involved in school committees that are formed by the school, or sometimes required by the Ministry of Education or from external organizations. It's important to be a member of this school committee, but we don't want any, just a membership, as much as required to have the leadership role. You as a leader in this community, what did you do to, lead this, this committee team to success? What was your role? How you were, helpful? What are your impacts on these committees? So it's very important to mention, this part in your document. The fourth sub-criteria is programs, initiatives, and projects. As a teacher, how you organize and, had purposeful activities, events, projects, well planned for these projects and activities in your planning. By the way, should be added in your plans. What are your visions, your goals, your roles? So when you submit any program, talking about any programs, initiatives and projects, it's very important to provide in your document a plan, a comprehensive plan with the objectives, with the procedures, activities, date, evaluation. How did you evaluate this project? These points are very, very important. And the last sub-axis of self and leadership competency is motivation. How you, as a distinguished teacher, spend efforts on encouraging others. First of all, encouraging yourself, of course, and individuals or institutions in enhancing capabilities and generating more potentials. How did you, you have to have, a mechanism in doing this. Should be the listing the mechanism of, motivating yourself. What did you do? How did you apply it? How you had impact on your co-workers? How you had impact on your students? How did you motivate them? And of course, always proofs and examples are needed to be added to your document. And what kind of, when you, motivated your school community, what procedures did you follow? It's not enough to just say, I did 1, 2, 3. It should be, provided with proofs. For example, I motivated my colleague to apply for Hamdan Award. So we need a proof. How did you do that? Conducting, let's say, for example, a workshop on the award, how to apply for the award. I encourage them. You can get a letter of thanks, thanking you for what you did, supporting your colleague on doing something. So it's a proof, it shows that you are really motivated individual in your school community. So these are 5 sub-axes of self and leadership proficiency. The points are 250. As you can see, setting a good example 40, for planning 40, in being involved in teams and committees 50, programs, initiatives and projects 60, and the last one, motivation, also 60 points. So this is the first axis of assessment in teacher award. So again, I believe in short, the teacher, again, I'll go through the sub-axis briefly. The teacher must be a very high or must demonstrate a very high behavioral competence during his daily work, adopting a concept, being good example, acting in a moral manner, which reinforces his positive acts towards himself and others. Planning, again, as I mentioned, a distinguished teacher must have a high efficiency in preparing comprehensive and integrated planning. Of course, having clear mission, vision, and values that are linked to the vision and mission of the Ministry of Education. Working in teams and committees, having a leadership role, playing a significant role to achieve results and targets that are really distinguished, looking for something really distinguished. Programs, initiatives, and projects, also being involved in different programs and initiatives and projects, providing proofs, how, you play a role, a positive role in these committees, and how you come up with results and impacts by implementing these projects, initiatives, and programs. Motivation, of course, again, it all starts from the self-motivation. then to students, co-workers, and school community. And it's, very important that when a teacher is distinguished, you can find the positive vibes and motivations are spreaded around him and around her, of course, in the school community. Not only school community, by the way, internal and external. All right. Now, here we have well, it's an activity that I want you to think about a program or an initiative or a project, how you develop an integrated plan and mechanism for the committees that are going to work with you in these projects and programs. As you know, it's very important as a distinguished teacher. You plan for your, you plan because you are, you have the skill of leadership, how to lead members of these committees to reach your targets. So I'll leave you let's say a minute to brainstorm what we mean by this, because by the way, it will help you in preparing your document, and it's not just providing us with you were a member in this committee with the date, with the table, etc. No, it's very important how you present it and show us that really you have the skill of leadership. So please think about this part because it will help you to add in your document. Okay. All right. So let's move to the second axis or the second criterion, which is cognitive and professional efficiency or competency. As you can see here, that it's out of 450 points. It's very important also to show the eligible teacher for this application for the award. As you can see, also we have 5 sub axes. But before we talk about these axes, let's elaborate a bit about the cognitive and professional competency or efficiency. It's very this part. It talks about the it's about the distinguished teacher who demonstrate a deep understanding of knowledge in his or her subject matter. He or she is not an ordinary teacher in conducting ordinary classrooms. He's always seeking for excellency, seeking for teaching in an innovative way, teaching in a different, in a fun way, attracting his or her students towards learning and enjoying the classroom. It's about a teacher who in advance plans for his or her classroom with new strategies, with new techniques, with new, let's say, activities that, again, attract the students to his classroom not only, you know, what we especially nowadays, the world has changed towards technology, and we know that students are no more interested in traditional way of learning. So it's very important to involve digital, you know, tools, platforms, methods to your classroom. And we know nowadays there are thousands of digital tools and you know, ways, platforms to be integrated in the classroom. So the distinguished teacher knows what are beneficial and have positive impact on his students to use them. So, and also it's very important not only bringing in, it's very important as a innovative teacher, you are required to design some, you know, programs, let's say some specialization in, you know, to be, you know, be specialized in how to create tools and platforms that will help your students. So this point is, or this part is very important to bear in mind. All right, now let's talk about the sub-axes or sub-criteria. The first one, as you can see, is deep knowledge of the subject matter, as I mentioned, and it has 40, you'll get 40 points for this criterion. The second one is the learning environment. I'll talk more about these points the coming slides. Out of 50, creative teaching, it's very important, as I mentioned. Out of 80, as we can see, it has the largest amount of the points among the others. Employing digital skills, out of 70, and exams and achievement results, 50. So here are the sub-axes of assessment for the cognitive and professional competence. Let's go deeply, talk about each sub-axis. The first one, as I mentioned, is deep knowledge of scientific subject, that distinguished teacher knows every piece and bit of, you know, in his subject matter, not sticking only to the textbook, you know, providing his classroom with different resources, different, you know, either digital platforms, applications, tools, etc. Adding to that, of course, so we cannot, you know, forget the textbooks. He or she must master, you know, and have the ability of, you know, the details of the subject matter, and of course teaching in a way, in a manner that it deepens a student's learning and understanding. Of course, you can, you know, add here as an evidence, like, you know, the principal can provide you with the, of course, you're going to provide attachments, video, certificates that you know, conducted, maybe some workshops for your colleagues about a platform you are good at using it, or application, or a tool, you know, educational tool. And also you can get a certificate from your school principal saying that you have many contributions in this part. You are, for example, let's say a member in the curriculum designing department or a committee. You are a member in, you know, preparing certain material related to your subject. So these will help a lot that you are a keen teacher on developing your subject matter skills. So this is the first one. Let's talk about the second sub-criteria or sub-axis, learning environment. I believe the title itself says a lot, that as a as a teacher and a distinguished teacher, your classroom must be different. Your classroom must be an environment which is safe. It's an environment that provides your students with all learning and teaching inquiries. Your classroom, when we say a safe classroom, it means psychologically and materially. Psychologically, that students are happy to be in your classroom. They are not afraid of your subject matter. With my respect, like for most of the students, they are not, keen on learning math, for example, math classrooms. So no, with you, it's different. The classroom is attractive, provided with different learning tools, materials. You are a positive personality that you attract them. You have your classroom, especially when you provide the recorded video, your classroom is interactive. Everybody's participating, having fun, understanding. And if not, you are there to support them. You are there to help them. So this is learning environment. Then we come again, creative teaching. As I mentioned previously, it's not an ordinary, normal classroom. It's a creative environment of teaching. Every day you present, your subject matter in a different way. You find creative strategies, methods. You have different ways of evaluating your, different levels of students in your classroom. They are not on the same level for you. No, you have to cater for different levels. You achieve, outstanding outcomes. For example, let's say when you come to compare between the achievement of your students at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, it shows that how you change the let's say student from those who need help to higher level, and those who are bright to in the middle, or low, they come to the middle, etc. I'm sure you understand what I mean. So it's very important to have an impact on your students' learning results. Then we come to employing digital skills. As I mentioned, this part is very important to be, as you know, our students nowadays, our kids are, very keen on using digitals on daily basis. They know how to use laptops, iPads, applications. So I believe we have to, harness their ability in this part, their mental ability in using technology. Therefore, it's very important to be up to date, in this field. So of course, when we talk about employing digital skills, we don't mean that, totally digital, because we also need our students to have hand-on activities. We want them to, play. We want them to be active in your classroom. But part of it is very important to, in their learning contributions, to have digital skills and have opportunities to, to develop these skills. And of course, when you come to submit in your document, to submit a list of, applications, platforms, that you are, or programs that you are using. And it's very important to, in a video that in your classroom, in the video that you're showing your, classroom while teaching, what what you are using, or of these digital tools, programs, and applications. As a proof, I mean, of course, it's very important to be innovative electronic programs. So not, for example, some applications that were used ages ago, and we are now talking about new applications that, let's say, vanished the previous ones. So this is very important. And also in your proofs, you will transfer what you are talking about and how you are utilizing these gadgets, let's say. Then we come to talk about the exams and achievement results. It's very, important that as a distinguished teacher, you have a high efficiency in using various tools of assessment. It's not only, paper and pencil. I'm sure all of, in the schools know more of that. We have a lot of electrical exams. We have, modern scientific trends. It's for, analyzing students' results. And here, I'd like to mention a point that we always realize in applicants' document, that unfortunately, when they come to compare between the results, for example, let's say first trimester with the second trimester, they provide us different documents. What I mean, in the first trimester, for example, you submit the document of class, let's say, grade 5-1, and in the second trimester, you submit the document of grade 5-2, that they have, improved. It cannot be. We cannot compare between different classes. We want to compare between the students of one class, the same class, to see that, let's say, X student in the first trimester, he needed improvement and help, and in second trimester, now we can see that X student has improved. So this is a very important point. Please bear in mind to be accurate and precise when you submit your documents, again, that they are related to each assessment axis. Okay, so then we're going to talk about supporting different categories of students. As we know, we have in our classrooms different levels of learners. We have learners who need support. We have learners who are in between. We have learners who are bright, and we have learners who are talented. So it's very important as a distinguished teacher, all of us we do, but as a distinguished teacher, to classify them and set a different program for each category, for each level of students. And these programs must be, should be applied in an integrated way. And it's very important, again, when you come to submit your document, when you mention what programs you designed for each category, mention what are your objectives for this category, what procedures did you use, the date, how did you evaluate this program or this project with different levels of your students, and how did you and what, how did the results that you achieved for your students actually achieve affected their learning, how it had an impact on them. Excuse me. All right, and again, I'm going to repeat myself because it's very important. For each category, you will mention a different program, a different plan that you provided for them. So again, bright students, talented students, and students whom are in need, or even you can mention students, special needs students, students whom are in need in a different way. Of course, what I mean, how you design a program for them. Continuous learning. Here, it's very important as a distinguished teacher that, we gain knowledge by developing ourselves professionally. We don't, stop in a certain point after we graduate from our, major and get into the work field, and that's it. As Hamdan, our foundation, we always encourage you as distinguished teachers to, pursue higher education, pursue more learning. Alhamdulillah, there are, facilities are provided that we can go for that. And also here, you have to provide proofs that you, attended either seminars, workshops, professional development, webinars, in general, sessions, and the proofs, of course, certificates showing that you attended these sessions. The date is very important, please. Not more than last 3 years. The certificates or the proofs must be stamped with a date from the eligible or the formal, organization. It's very, very important. Also, in this part, if you are, having scientific trips, also very important to mention how this scientific trip, had an impact on your career. We want to talk about scientific trip, not any, ordinary trip, please, because some, they do provide us with ordinary trip that I went to 1, 2, 3, but unfortunately, they are not counted. It must be related to your subject matter. For example, you are a teacher of, let's say, science. So you went to a scientific museum, and what were the, learning outcomes from your visit, for example. And also, how you, yeah, you can add this into, for example, after going to that, going to that scientific museum, how it's, you benefited out of this visit in your, to use it as a, let's say, a resource in your classroom, teaching. Then we come to research and postgraduate studies. I believe, again, well, I talked about, professional development also can be as postgraduate studies, because you are developing yourself, professionally. It will affect your work. Always, it's important as a teacher, and especially as a distinguished teacher, to work on researches, procedure researcher. You have let's say, a problem in your classroom, bullying, for example, any kind of problem that your students are facing, or even some teachers they are facing in the school community. So you come up with a procedural research. This can be done individually or with your colleagues in a, as a group, or as a teamwork. It's okay, but it's very important to submit procedural research that is done in a scientific way. What I mean by scientific way, that you have the problem, you talk about it, there is an introduction about the, the research, whom are your, let's say, people that you did the research on them, what tools did you use? You can, you can search online. What do we mean by exactly? I'm sure you know, but for more details, what are the, let's say, the characteristics of a procedural research. And also, it's very important to submit a full copy of the research, because if you just add the title or the letter cover of the research, it's not going to help. We have to see exactly how did you work on this research and what are the results, the recommendations, and after this research, how did it impact on following up the problem that you did your research on. So this is very important. And also we urge you as Hamdan Foundation to pursue your higher education, to become more and more knowledgeable in your field. All right. Then we come to professional membership. It's very important to join licensed, specialized, professional or societal, either national or international associations. Because again, it's a part of adding to us as teachers when we join these organizations. It's very important to have valid and certified copies of the, of your membership. The date, your membership cards must not be expired, up to dated. You have to highlight on, for example, if you are a member in the, let's say, Tisol Arabia organization, all right, teaching English as a second language organization. So it's very important to mention, your role in this organization. It's very important to highlight, what effects you achieved, by being a part of this organization. So it's not just, being a member of an organization and that's it. So it's very important to provide us with, effective, membership from these organizations, either national or international, and mentioning your roles in these organizations. So I believe we are done with the second axis. We come to the third axis, or the third criterion, which is communicative efficiency and quality of life. It's very important that distinguished teacher, is efficient in communicating, in the school community, the way of communicating with the school administration, with the co-workers or colleagues, with the students, parents, etc., whom are involved in the school community. And of course, this communication via or through different channels can be, educational platforms, smart learning tools, can be, of course, social media nowadays. Each school, they have communication channels with the, let's say, with the students, how to communicate. They have school groups to communicate, and also it's very important to have contributions and practices in improving the let's say the quality of life of the students. What do you mean by quality of life of students or co-workers? It's in the environment of the school, how I can create an environment, again, as I mentioned, a safe environment for the students learning, for the colleagues working, etc. What are your roles in this? So let's go to talk about the different dimensions that come under this axis of assessment, or this criteria of assessment. Step by step, we'll talk about them. As you can see, the first one is positive communication with the school community. Comes with the community of the school, 35 marks. I forgot to mention that the total access points is 150, and this 150 is divided onto on 4 sub-axes, as you can see. The first one, positive communication with the school community, 35 points. Positive communication with the external community, 35 points. Quality of life of the learners, 40. Happiness and positivity, 40. Now we'll come to talk about each sub-axis. So the first one, as you can see, positive communication with the school community. Here is about, a teacher who has the ability to be open, to have open and positive channels of communication with the school community. Of course, school community, we mean various school community components, not only with the school principal, but with everyone, in order to why we say that, in order to consolidate the relationship between the school community individuals. So it's how you're going to talk about this part with evidence and proof by, for example, you are involved in meetings. You have the minutes of meetings with your school community. You list the means and the mechanism that you use in positive communication, with your school community. You can present situations that, in such situations, how you were positive with your, let's say, school principal or your colleagues. So these are some examples. I'm trying to elaborate more with what we mean by positive communication with the school community and in general the members and your colleagues. The second sub-axis is positive communication with the external community now. Of course, external community can be the Ministry of Education, can be councils, educational councils, can be organizations, institutions. This is very important also to have a, have the skill or have the ability of, having the ability to open positive channels, communicating with, let's say, accredited community. As I mentioned, can be with these organizations or councils, having meetings with them, for example, exchanging ideas, thoughts, having, kind of meetings to work on a certain, let's say, program. So your role is very important in such a, community. You're going to mention what was your role, how, what you did had, for example, a positive impact on both sides. You can, in your document, list the events that you attended, that you, for example, had a contribution with them, how you learned and how you, your contributions had impact on your membership, etc. So, of course, providing the proofs, as I mentioned, can be pictures, minutes of meeting, how after, for example, with these committees, did you contributed, for example, in conducting workshops, in giving sessions, you are an active, let's say, an active member working with the external committee. So again, we want a distinguished teacher to be open, to be positive, to contribute not only in his or her school community, but also to have contributions outside and to shine and to, let's say, participate in the educational field, to be an active member in education field. Then we talk about the next sub-axis is quality of life of the learners. Now, I believe the title is obvious and shows how it's very important that the teacher to have the ability and skills to, impact, to have an impact on his or her learners. You provide your learners with education, let's say equal education opportunities. You treat them all as one. All learners are different, we know, but you treat each person according to his personality, his needs as a student, of course. They are not all, bright, they are not all talented, and they are not all in need of support and help. So in your plan, you have always to show that how you, change, or how you provided a change to different level of your students, and how you are an active teacher that, you know, having balance between the students' health, psychological, social, and cultural needs. So it's very important that I know there are a lot to do, but when it comes to the students, we have to really be devoted and dedicated, because they are the core of education, and our efforts, achievements, and contributions show that really, you know, we worked hard with them. So this is the learner's quality of life. So it's very important also, you can, as a proof, to add what kind of, let's say, events or programs you conducted, or you were part of it in your school to, you know, to provide happiness to your students. What did you do? How did you plan for these events, programs, or projects to, you know, have an impact on your students? Can be, you know, enrich their individual's culture. Can be, you know, how you change their quality of life, to, you know, let them know how to become a better student, we can say, you know, listening to them and knowing what their needs are. So, and of course, all of this, you know, the methods, by observing, by studying their, you know, needs, by talking to them, by talking to the social worker. If, for example, some students, they are kind of reverted students, you know, you want to know what is their background, you can search and dig about them. So again, you can have activating programs, like, for example, the programs of student digital quality of life. Some of them, maybe they are in need of these. So you as a teacher, we have to know what are, again, the needs of the students. All right, now let's go to happiness and positivity. Again, I believe it combines between what we talked about, the happiness, and being positive. So they you know, come together, and when a teacher is positive and happy, so you will spread this in your classroom. And when you spread the positivity and happiness in your classroom, believe me, the productivity is going to raise, and it will help a lot, you know. It reminds me of a movie I watched, by the way, about a student who had problem in learning. He had dyslexia, and some teachers, they didn't know, you know, of course, maybe they don't have background about the difficulty that the student was facing, and he was, you know, he was so miserable. He didn't like to go to school because he knew what he's going to face. And it happened that he was blessed with a bright teacher who discovered that this student is not happy because the teachers are not happy with him, and because they don't know what is his problem. And once he found his problem, he helped him in learning the basics of, you know, how to read. Of course, dyslexia is kind of, you know, that the person or the student cannot differentiate between letters like D and and B, for example, R and S, etc. He helped him, and really he became one of the best and bright students in the school. So when the student is happy, is learning, the teacher is going to be happy and have a positive, classroom environment. And of course, we can do that by preparing and designing integrated programs, having positivity in the school community, implementing different or certain procedures that will help us to achieve that. And of course, proofs are needed, that there is an impact on your students. So we're done with this access, I believe. We'll move to an activity, well, let's brainstorm together. Now it says that if a female teacher, focus on female teacher, the new accesses of the Distinguished Teacher Award and attended the related training workshop, but she has not understood the access related to the communicative competence, that manner that enables her to participate, and she is confused. What should she do? So I believe here, if anyone, it's not only a female teacher that couldn't attend, or didn't understand the new accesses of Distinguished Teacher regarding what we are talking about. It's very important. This, of course, video is going to be uploaded on the Hamdan Award YouTube channel, and also can communicate with the foundation management for more elaboration, or how they can help her, to get better understanding of the new accesses. Maybe it's added female here because some programs, maybe they it's for them, for especially international or external programs. And also it's sometimes it happens, by the way, these activities and questions are from the field, because going through the excellence document, we do face what, let's say, ambiguity better than problems. They're not problems anymore. They are ambiguity that, or queries that face our applicants. So I believe, yes, this workshop is going to be, it is recorded and is going to be uploaded on the foundation channel on YouTube. Now we come to our fourth criterion, or fourth access. Why I'm repeating criterion or access, because if I, sometimes I say access or criterion, so to be on the same path, which is efficiency in national and communal commitment. As in this, efficiency, as you can see, it's out of 150 points. We have the 3 sub-accesses. The first one is positive citizenship and national identity, 50 out of 150. The societal responsibility is 50, and voluntary work is 50. Now, this access, we believe that the distinguished teacher must have a high degree of positive citizenship. it's very important to have contributions. It's very important to work to promote, work and promote in the school community. It's also, we have to take into consideration that, especially as teachers, to have tolerance, to tolerate what we go through sometimes in the school community. Especially we are living in a cultural diversity, community. And also, a distinguished teacher should show a high, let's say, societal responsibility, and must contribute in voluntary work. We want a teacher who is active and who has impact in different areas, not only in the education field, but also in the community, either external or internal. So let's talk about the first sub-axis, which is positive citizenship and national identity. Of course, it's it's very important that a distinguished teacher is upholding positive values of citizenship, and is very keen on national identity, tolerance. He participates effectively and continuously, by the way. It's not only a period and he stops, no, continuously in events, in initiatives, of course, or activities that are related to, the outside or inside the school community. And it's very important to, have values of belonging, loyalty, let's say pride and love for the homeland. What did you do as a distinguished teacher, for example, to show your values and your, leadership and feelings towards these, let's say, elements, or these it's difficult to, to give a term, but in general, as citizenship, as a national, showing your, not showing your belonging. It's not necessary to be only the nationals, but even as expats, how you show your belonging to this country, through providing proofs of contributing in activities, in events, in let's say programs that are related to the occasions of these activities. So I'll give you an example. Let's make it clear. For example, on the National Day of the UAE, as a distinguished teacher, what was your role in this event? How did you, prepare for this event, for your school community, for the teachers, for the students? What was your impact? It's very important. For example, for voluntary work, continuously, what do you do for the society? What voluntary work organization you are a member of? What contributions you had? Did you get any prize for your membership, let's say, for your efforts, for your contributions? So these are very important. We would like to see how you participate in these different criteria. Societal responsibility here again, as a valued and distinguished, let's not only teacher, but as a society member, as a citizen, how you have positive, let's say, efforts in adopting societal issues, showing your role. It's not only just let's say talking about it in a let's say descriptive way, but also showing program, planning, let's say planning a program for this societal responsibility. What did you do? What activities did you contribute? And the time, it's very important to provide a comprehensive program evaluation. How did you evaluate this program? Results. What results did you find after fulfilling this program? So these are very, very important for the sake of the community, interest and welfare, and how you had an impact on that. So again, it's very important. This criterion should be sub-criteria, excuse me, should be provided and supported by evidence, proofs, in showing your role, implementing your role in these activities. And it's very important to talk, for example, and maybe can be, by the way, before I forget, can be an issue in the society. How did you, join a committee or an organization in, like, for example, the environment issue? How did you participate in this issue? What was your role to help and contribute? What was the impact, by joining and being a member of this organization? You may conduct surveys, you may make a study, I'm sure you have many ideas that you can contribute and share them with us in your excellence document. Now we come to the voluntary work. I believe it's the same, but one point I'll mention that it's very important to contribute, in such voluntary work, because it will have a positive impact inside and outside of the school, and of course the efforts must be clearly explained in your excellence document. And it's very important to achieve a winning award from the organization that you are working with as a voluntary work. So it will add a lot to your excellence document if you do so. All right, so it's time for discussions and inquiries. If you have any, we'll allot time for this before we end the session. So the floor is yours if you have any questions. I'm ready to answer, and Ms. Khawla is with us also. We will be happy to answer your questions. Ms. Khawla, do we have any questions? Or you're answering on the chat box?
Yes, I'm answering on the chat box. There is one question now with you.
All
You
right,
can see
that's
it.
great. Yeah. So thanks, Ms. Khawla. She is answering on the chat box. Again, I'll emphasize on the importance of, the submission date and the due date. Also, please commit to the word counts and the size of your files, and to not face any difficulty in uploading the document. The forms are very important to fill in with your required information. And if you, your line manager, would like to provide names and details to send an electronic letter from the foundation, a letter of recommendation form to fill out and send back electrically to the foundation. You can ask for that form that is, electronically. You can ask it from the foundation. They will send it to, because as you remember at the beginning, it was mentioned that especially, for the private schools, you have to provide the foundation with the recommendation letter from the school principal or from a colleague. So you can ask for the form, they will provide you, and you can fill it in and resend it back to the foundation management.
So here there is one question is how about the 45 minutes video? Should be done long back, or I can prepare it to show the good practice?
Pardon, Ms. Khawla, say it again.
It's in the chat box.
Oh.
How about the 45 minutes video?
Yes, by the way, yes, I'll say it again. Regarding the classroom video recording, shouldn't be less than 45 minutes. It's according to the period, classroom period, 45 minutes of video recording from starting from the warming up until the wrapping up the classroom. Because the invigilation committee members would like to see, every step that as a distinguished teacher you are following in conducting your session, in how you attract your students, what kind of creative teaching and learning methods you're using, what digital tools you are using in your classroom platforms, how you are, how you are positive and happy, and your students are happy and positive in your classroom, how you are catering for the different levels of students in your classroom, the environment of your classroom, both, psychologically and material, the lighting, the smart board you're using, data show, students are using the let's say how they are using the either iPad, computer, they come to the board using the smart board. Are they familiar? Are they, let's say, educated, digital wise educators? They know how to use them. So it's very important. It will add a lot, even in, God forbidden, if you have forgotten to add a proof in certain part of the classroom, let's say professional access, self and leadership access, through that video, it will help that the members of arbitration committee members, they can see that, the teacher, she used, for example, the smart board. Yes, she used the, let's say, the students by their names, for example. She called the students by their names. So everything can be clear in the video. Yeah.
In case I transfer my current high school to another high school, will this cause any problem?
I was reading that question. No, it will not. Why? Because you can provide us with the your excellence document can be from the previous school. If you spent of course you have experience of more than 3 years, and you want to add from your previous school, and you believe what you did in your previous school will fulfill the requirements of the and the conditions of the award, yes, you can use from your previous school, but you cannot add from previous schools part of it and add from your current school, because it will not show it won't be transparent. It won't for the invigilators, for the arbitrators. We cannot know that, for example, the impact of the teacher on his or her current students. So yes, you can share with us from the previous school. But if your current school, you joined them for the last year, I believe it's enough time, no? It's enough time. We are now at the end of the year, so it's enough time. You know better. You know if your file in which school can contribute in a better way. Yes. And it's very important, as I mentioned at the beginning of the workshop, that you log on Hamdan Foundation website, which is HA, of course, www.ha.ae, and you can find a lot of information about the award, about the events, about I'm sure they will have the calendar of applying for the award, when is the date, or the due date, etc. It's very important to, yes, thank you, Ms. Khawla. Yes, And also you can find the guidelines of your, how to apply for the award. And it's a good idea, personally, I'm a person that would, like to talk to people more than sometimes, searching digitally. You may refer to someone that they applied for the award in the previous years. You can get more information from them, their experience, how did they do it, what recommendations they got, as a feedback from the foundation, what let's say, what did they let's say didn't do that affected their excellence document, etc. It helps a lot, by the way, if you know someone. Yeah, sure. When will be the final deadline for cycle 26? I think once they announce, when is going to be the date of submission, it comes with it the due date. So I don't know, Ms. Khawla, can we say exactly when is going to be the date of submission from now? Ms. Khawla is going to.
The date is on the 9th of September.
9th of September. Okay, yeah. Great. So
I think 8th, exactly.
8th or 9th. So when in submission, no problem. But the most important thing is the due date,
The due date.
Yeah, it's more important, yes. So yeah. If a teacher, I'll take this question after your permission, Ms. Khawla, by Mr. Joy George. Is it? Yeah, okay. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If a teacher is working for more than 15 years and has a significant roles over the years, can he or she include the activities or only for last 3 years? Yeah. That's great to hear that 15 years of achievements and significant roles. It means he or she is a distinguished teacher, because it's a long period to be active and to participate. That's great to hear that. But as I mentioned, previously, we go only for the last 3 years because of focusing. I believe 3 years is more than enough to, as a teacher, you provide your achievements and contributions. Because if we go for, more than that, like, for example, as you mentioned, 15 years, unfortunately, believe me, the system cannot, accept it. So, no, it's only for the last 3 years. I'm looking forward to see your files. I'm sure you have a lot in your box, and you can achieve the the conditions and the required things to provide. Please go through the requirements again, brainstorm as we started at the beginning, and try to manage your work, organize them. You have a lot. You as teachers, we have a lot. Especially nowadays, education has changed. Many requirements, many queries. So therefore, sit with yourself. Have your coffee, brainstorm, think about each axis of assessment, not electronically, even with your work and with your certificates and papers. Just, let's say have boxes for each axis and add to it what is required for the first axis, what is required for the second, third, fourth. And when you pile them, you will see a lot. Then organize them, arrange them. What is updated, what is not, what is needed, what I can add. It's very simple. And as you can see, minimizing the number of the words and the attachment on the system, it will help you a lot to not, to not be scattered. Just focus on the needed requirements. You're welcome anytime, Mr. George. Yeah, so you deserve it. The award is like a medal on your chest. Like for you, it's you are celebrating for yourself, for your contributions. You deserve it. You deserve it. Yes. I'll take you back to the activity that we did at the beginning of the session. Okay. When we talked about what I know, all right. I believe here, yes. What I know, it's something, of course, you jot it down. What do you want to know? Also, you jot it down. Now, please, what did you learn from this workshop for you? When you come to work on your excellence document, what did you learn? For example, it will help you. For example, I learned that I have to, Mr. George, I have to submit only the last 3 years of my work. This is what I learned. I learned that the word counts shouldn't exceed 4,400 words, etc. So please do. It will help you a lot, when you come to prepare for the award. Okay, let's go back to the questions, if any. Oh, yes. Ms. Jawahar, hello, Ms. Jawahar. Thank you for your question. You're asking if some reports about my scientific journeys, but this cycle you've cancelled, I believe. Yeah, you've cancelled that sub-criterion. All right. So if some reports about scientific journeys, but you've cancelled this sub-criterion. No, it's there. Scientific journey is there. It's in remember I talked about it in where is it? Let me talk about it in research and yeah, in research, and in let me see. Yes, in research and postgraduate studies. Yes, it's the criterion is there, Ms. Jawahar. No, it's okay. You can add it. You can, can I add it to continuous learning or just forget about it? Scientific journeys are not in the, in the criterion of or in the sub-axis of continuous learning, because in there you have to talk about the sessions, workshops, and seminars that you attended. Here, the scientific journey is about, it's about educational field, about you, what did you learn? You know, so you chose it, let's say, not designated by other organizations or by the Ministry of Education or by your school. No, you chose, you know, your scientific journey or trips to add to your, let's say, subject matter, for example. So please don't, because you will, you know, they will deduct your marks. So stick to as I mentioned, please stick to each criterion with the related attachment, proofs, and evidences. Yes. Anytime, anytime. Waiting for more questions. You know, 1,000 miles of journey starts with the first step. So it might have, you know, you have the feeling of it's going to be too much. I don't have time for this. I don't know if I'm going to win. If no, please start from today. Start. Find your, you know, findings. Look for the certificates. You have them, that they are on the cupboard or on the wall, that you can use them. You know, prepare. You deserve it. And I'm sure you will get it. If not from the first step, it's okay, because there is nothing called failure and success. Success, okay, but failure, it's not a failure. It's a way, or let's say it's a first step. If I didn't succeed, I will know where I have to amend, where I have to improve, where I have to work on to get into the, you know, the pyramid of success. So please do, you know, apply because you deserve it. And it's great to, you know, see you on the ceremony day, on the winning day, on the day that you are announced that you are the distinguished teacher of cycle 26. That's great. Wish you all of you the best. Do we have any questions? All right, Mr. George. Can a teacher apply for this award 2 or more consecutive years, or only once? Now, if this teacher applied for the award, but unfortunately didn't win, of course you can. You know, the foundation management, they are going to send the applicant who didn't make it with the feedback, saying that in this access, every access separately, they will let him know that in this access you did this, great, but you need to improve in this area. You have to, for example, you didn't add attachment as required according in general. So they will give him the feedback, and working on that feedback, you can apply second year, third year. I have teachers, they applied, you know, I remember a teacher from GCC countries, one of the GCC countries, maybe the seventh time, insisting that I want to win, you know, and he won. So yes, you can apply more than once. But if you win, of course, that's it. You can apply for it after 3 years, after, you know, you let's say achieve different things in your field. Yeah, of course you can apply. It makes us happy to see teachers applying for the award. We are all here, Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum Foundation. Every single member is here to serve the distinguished, academic performance. Not only teachers, as you know, there are different categories that they apply for the award. So we are all, here to serve the distinguished people. Anytime, anytime. Pleasure, Mr. George and Miss Poonam Kiwalani. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing in a not clear way, but I believe Kiwalani. Poonam Kiwalani. All right. Thank you, dear. Thank you. No more questions? Glad to answer them. Schola, do you have any? It's not in the chat box, but in case any from before, I was busy with conducting the session. Well, if not, we don't want to keep people waiting. Ms. Khawla, are you going to post the assessment questionnaire for the training day in the chat box, or?
Yes.
Please, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Khawla. You can see the workshop assessment questionnaire. We would appreciate it if you can answer to the questionnaire. It's first of all that you attended the workshop, and the second thing that it will help us to develop, the coming workshops for you. I hope you're not going to need it to be one of the winners, but in case, it will help us a lot. So I'll give you time for the questionnaire to be filled by you. Thank you. If you have any difficulty in logging in the website or opening it, please let us know. Miss Diana Khadar is asking what to enter in the field of cycle. I guess it's your question, Miss Khawla. Yes, it's cycle 26, mashallah. 26 of excellent. You're welcome, Miss Diana. Okay, we have, all right. Ms. Nadine, she's asking, it is mentioned that a recommendation letter from the principal is required. Could you kindly clarify whether the, where did it go? Sorry, Ms. Nadine. Kindly clarify whether the recommendation letter should be submitted by email directly to yourself, or if there is an alternative method of submission. I think I, mentioned that this, the form is going to be sent to you by Hamdan Foundation Management. They will send that form to you. You fill it in, then you send it via your email, of course, after you apply. They will send it back to you. Yes. So they will send you the form of the recommendation letter. You fill it in, then resend it to the management. Yes. After submission of the files, they will send it. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Diana. So I believe if you're done with the assessment questionnaire, yes, Mr. George asking, do we get do we get any, sorry, I was trying to read that, yes. Do we get any certificate for today's workshop? I think this question goes to the foundation management. They will let you know. I don't know, Ms. Khawla, do you have any answer for Mr. George's query? So your answer, Ms. Khawla, to Ms. Diana, that she can submit the letter via the electronic system. And regarding Mr. George, yes, you will get the attendance certificate. You deserve it. And it will add, by the way, it will add to your excellence document that you attended the workshop. Sure. Ms. Amina, she's asking, is it possible during, sorry. Ms. Amina, your question. Yes. Ms. Amin is asking, is it possible during the preparations and collection of evidence and proof to check as a kind of revision with a support committee prior to submitting officially to the arbitration committee? Unfortunately, no, Ms. Amina, because it's the role of the arbitration committee members only to evaluate the document. They are not available before, you know, the arbitration time or date. So there are no specialized people to go through the file through this workshop and going through the guidelines that are provided on Hamdan Award website. You can, go through them and add your work, your proofs and attachments. Unfortunately, it's, there's no such committee to go through the file before the official evaluation. Ms. Nadine is asking for the link of the Instagram for the awards. So I guess Ms. Khawla, she will do that shortly. It's there, Ms. Nadine. Good luck. Wish you all of you the best. Oh, sorry, it's Ms. Amina also. Anytime, Ms. Amina. Anytime. All right. If no questions, I believe I'm here. Even if you want to ask questions, I'm here. Just for those who have, finished the questionnaire, assessment questionnaire, and you have no questions, I'd like to thank you for being here today and, listening to me. I know it's virtually is a bit different than face-to-face workshop. Inshallah, one day we'll have a face-to-face workshop. Wish you all of the best. Please do work on your document. I'm sure you have a lot in your box. Prepare, ask people who applied for the award previously, go through the website, read about it more and more, read about the conditions, the guidelines. You can do it. Yes, you can do it. Thank you very much and wish you all of the best. See you on the ceremony stage. I'm really excited. Thank you very much. Have a great day and have a lovely holiday and weekend. This is Fawzia Al-Awadi from Hamdan Award Foundation for the Distinguished Performance. I would like to wish you all of the best. Goodbye.